What you gotta do? What you gotta do? What you gotta? What you gotta? What you gotta do? What you gotta do? Do what you gotta do? Do. Used to draw, hard to admit that I used to draw portraiture in the human form, doodle of a two-headed unicorn. Was soothing, moving his arm in fusion with mind-made tools and muse from beyond. And even if it went beautifully wrong, it was tangible truth for a youth who refused to belong. No-name nuisance stews in a bedroom, oozing a brand new cuneiform. Barely commune with the horde, got a whole grayscale ungluing his world. Might zone out to the yap or the magpie, unseen hand dragging his graphite. Cross contour like a little bit of black light, black ink after Bristol to baptize. You can't imagine the rush that ensued when you get 3 dimensions stuffed into 2, and then soft to school where it's all that you do. Being trained and observable for a capable few. Back in New York, 5 peeps and a dog in a 2-bedroom doing menial jobs. Plus rhyming and stealing and being a clod. Distractions free to maraud. I left some years a deer in the headlight. I left some will to spirit away. I left my fears materialize. I let my skills deteriorate. Haunted by the thought of what I should have been, continuing a mission that was rooted in a 20-year affinity. In rickety condition with an ID crisis, snap on the front lawn, look up in the sky, it's shapes falling out of the fringe. All heart though we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. And there were colors pouring out of the fringe. All heart though we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. Used to paint, hard to admit that I used to paint. Natural light on a human face, stenciled fire on his roommate's face. Was blooming addiction, a miss in the cushion of pigment. Book like a tattooed pigskin look. Pinhead kids of the minute drank Kool-Aid from a tube of acrylic, and it grew up into linseed oil over linen. Joy to the poison voice of the resin. Capture a map of the gesture, back up, add a little accurate fat to the figure. Redo that, move that inward. Zinc white lightning shoots from his fingers. Studio strewn with illusion and tinctures. Stay tuned for the spooky adventures. You can't imagine stars that align. One forearm starts foreshortening right, or a torso hung on a warping spine. In proportion reads as warm and alive. Routine day with a dirt sheet brush. Then a week goes by and it goes untouched. Then 2, then 3, then a month. The rest of your life you beat yourself up. I left some seasons eager to fall. I left some work to bury alive. I let my means of being dissolved. I let my person curl up and die. Eating up his innards in unfeasible anxiety. Had brutally committed to relinquishing his privacy. Aligning with the trials of anti-Midas. Nap on the back lawn looking up in the sky. It's shapes falling out of the fringe. All heart that we would have made cowardly kings. It will chop you down just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. And there were colors pouring out of the fringe. All heart that we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. Just to count your rings.